come off for a second there. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah.
Just break it up.
All I'm telling you all is going to feel that hurt, a big hurt. Yeah, all you government workers, you all is going to feel it real hard, you WASA workers, T&Tech, TSTT, yeah? Because you depend on the system for it to work for you. When the system was just only designed for the rich to be richer, and the poor to always stay poor. And what they're doing to the, notice this, it didn't really happen nothing about middle class again.
But that was always the plan of the elites and the Illuminati, because in that same book, they describe the plan, the plan of, when it comes back to Plato days, the plan was what? To have a ruling class, right? A military class, and a servant class, working class, right? And that was it. That was the whole plan, and nothing about any middle class.
The middle class is just an illusion that they give to you all.
Can.
Just an illusion.
Can. So
You're ready for the second time, huh?
Yeah, we go back with this one. Let's go through one more thing.
Yeah.
In terms of the how they really accomplish this, right? Because we know that gold keeps the standard, right? So what they did is that they suppressed the gold by what? By they bought up all the gold, right? And silver.
Yeah, boy.
Right? And what they did, they sold this, they were selling the gold, right? At low prices, right? At low prices, what to devalue the gold, right?
Yeah.
Back to bullion banks, right?
Yeah.
Right? And that basically by them selling the gold, right? It basically told the market that hey, the value of gold is reduced, and the prices they were selling were very low.
Just to make sure and keep the US dollar on top.
And to was artificially low the prices, right? And basically to justify the people, hey, look, the dollar worth more than gold, which is a lie. That's not the true value of gold. Like the Lord said, money, gold and silver is mine, right? The gold and silver is mine. That's the true value. That's the true value of a currency, right? There's a difference between money and currency, right?
Yeah, boy.
Right? Because true money is gold and silver, and currency is just paper fiat system, which is worthless, right? It's worthless. So when they give to these bullion banks now, what do? Right? They go now and they basically sell or sell basically to other institutions, right? For IOUs, which is government debt again. Okay? So but when the US Treasury basically do the reporting or the reports, when they send out the reports, what happens? They basically report all the gold, what they actually have, and they also report what they sold to the bullion banks.
And the doctor in the numbers,
correct.
Don't get it twisted,
but
they give an accurate estimate. The doctor in it.
So it's a false value they're reporting, right? It's a false value they're reporting. So the figures you actually see, they don't actually have all that gold, right? Because the bullion banks don't sell half that gold already or more, alright?
Because again going back, and why they was going back again, that is why Nixon Nixon take off that gold standard in the first place, because these countries was asking back for the gold at alarming rates. And if he did that, by them doing that is because the dollar, right? The dollar, it will come to a crash. Right? It will come to a crash, and so to stop that, take off the dollar, because remember they don't implement that the US dollar will be the world currency flat off the board. So he wanted us, brother, let me take off the gold and pour all the gold, right? Pour all the gold, and let me continue with having it as the world currency, right? But the thing is, still it ain't being backed by nothing. So something, it come like this. Alright. The US dollar having all it back, right? The US dollar having all it back because of its value of being the world currency. But what holding the US dollar?
Nothing.
What holding the US dollar?
Nothing. And even by them artificially suppressing the gold price and the silver price, they basically discourage anybody from buying gold and silver. think that is not valuable, but certain countries were still buying it. China, right?
Mm-hmm.
Russia, all right. What countries? Libya with Gaddafi, right?
Yeah, well, Gaddafi,
Gaddafi was buying it too.
What with Gaddafi? That is a whole situation there by itself. Let me just read the scripture and I go share. There is Haggai 2:8, what the Moses say, right? Because when you go to Genesis, what Abraham was rich in. Let me see if I can find it out, boy. Abraham was rich in gold. Let me see if I can get it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because the Moses said the silver is mine and the gold is mine, say the Lord of hosts, right? Let me see if I can find it as quick as possible. And then I was going to expound quick on that thing, and we're going to go to the book Satan's Angels Exposed. Let's hold my phone if I'm about to show. Alright, so I think I almost reach it. Let's see. Just bear with me. Or I might have to type it up. Might have to type it up. Just give my code, not type it up. Alright? Because when I'm through something quick, I want to, because the bullet, that's not to be exact what the bullet on about. Alright. Well, we do quick. Yeah. We do quick here. Genesis 13:2. Genesis 13:2.
Alright.
Genesis 13.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 13, and starting from verse 2.
Yeah, good.
Alright? And Abraham was very rich.
Was very what?
Rich.
Yeah, good.
In cattle, in silver.
In cattle, because you could do trade with cattle. Right? Good.
In silver.
And what?
Silver.
Good.
And in gold.
And in gold. These are things you could do trading. But what Esau come and do, Esau come and take away again. Like I was showing a guy. Right? The Moses set up a system. The first 5 books of Moses, right, is the Moses, what I told you is the Moses image, which is a system. But Esau now, because of his God complex, I will be like the Most High, right? He wants to set up he sets up his own system that is totally contrary to the Most High system. That's why everything going all haywire. That's why everything is all in confusion. Right? So let me go to this little thing was when I bring up with Gaddafi. Right. What was going on with Gaddafi? You see, Gaddafi wasn't stupid. And the people in Libya was living like lords in Libya. Believe it or not, they was living like lords. I don't want to expound too much, go and do your research. Gaddafi wanted to bring the whole of Africa under one currency, which is the gold dinars. Right? And the Americans, they did not want that. So they came up with a plot to assassinate Gaddafi. Right? And that's when I make a long story short. Because had the whole of Africa been successful with that plan that Gaddafi was about to implement, it would have literally crashed the American dollar. It would have crashed it. Because now, a lot of the oil that coming from Nigeria, from the Niger Delta and in Libya and what have you, you would have to come with gold to purchase. They want to want with dollars, come with gold. And they don't want that.
I mean, just like we say, it's a Ponzi scheme. When somebody members start a poor, what happens to the Ponzi scheme? It crashes.
It crashes.
And that's how US dollar would crash. You can kick that can down the road.
So,
one you pull out that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
One scripture here is Ecclesiastes 7 and 12.
Yeah, go ahead.
For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. Right? Okay? Because money is a defense. Why? Having that gold back and that silver back is a defense against what corruption. The corruption and the wickedness of the elites too. Alright? Because these elites know Yahweh set up gold and silver as true money. Right? But instead they set up currency. Why? To get themselves richer and richer. Right? I'll jump down to verse 13. Consider the work of Yahweh, for who can make that straight which he had made crooked. Alright?
Yeah, he make it so
and that is very deep.
He make it something.
Nobody can't.
And he kept on the background.
And 2/3 of all people are crooked, right?
They have this spirit like we saw.
Right, so then we can make them
straight at all.
When the Lord make them soon.
Right, so you ready for this here?
Yeah.
So we have a couple more scriptures or something.
Let's go down here.
So we'll be going into here now. Page 171, let's say?
176.
76?
Yeah. 176. That's where we
right, so we go.
Money manipulators.
Yeah. So we go into the money manipulators, right? This is chapter 24, right? 175, actually, in Satan's angels, right?
Yeah.
Satan's angels being exposed, right? The name of the chapter is the money manipulators' greed for power. Right? The 5 largest US banks. It is not a sin to be wealthy. The 5 largest commercial banking companies in the United States are in order. Bank of America, which is Truth Corporation, which is headquartered in San Francisco. Citicorp, right, which is headquartered in New York. Chase Manhattan Corporation, again New York. Manufacturers Hanover Corp, New York. And guess who? J.P. Morgan and Company. Yeah? Why he must be there? Because he was one of the leading culprits with the Rothschilds and them to set up the Federal Reserve. Right? He was one of the main culprits. So let me continue.
J.P. Morgan, right?
Yeah, Mr. J.P. Morgan.
And that's why today he still have the highest amount of money, right? Because he's the largest bank of today. J.P. Morgan worth over 2.74 trillion today.
Wow.
Right? Followed by Bank of America.
And
then Citigroup.
And where they get the start from? Slavery. They get a start from slavery. Right? But that is for another time. What does become sin is the love of money. Right? When he put the scripture on 1 Timothy 6 and 10, you all can go to that scripture. In fact, Yahweh's word tells us that the love of money is the root of all evil. Such a love has drawn pastors out of the pastorate, which you all know. Such a love has caused the livers to wrap their priorities, given the Lord second best, right? Because they rather serve Mammon than the Mosai. To those who do not know Yahweh Shai HaMashiach as personal Savior and Lord, but they will come at an old Christian swing of thing,
Dogma.
Yeah, Christian dogma. Right?
We take any meat from the bone.
Right?
Yeah.
The love of money spawns a multitude of evils and becomes Satan's playground. Right? But the word Satan just means adversary. And Esau Edom is the adversary of the Most High. Right? Wealthy, independent people seek to hold public office, devoting all their energies day and night to become elected. Not, however, for money alone. They have greedily gained money and have still not found happiness. Now they seek what they believe is the next ultimate power. If you are an astute, I'm going to jump down.
Let me jump to page 180.
Page 180. Alright, so I'm going to page 180. Yeah.
Basically, the debt is, the debt is strong. I have the figures here. So the federal debt, as per this book, right, in 1970 was 396 billion, right?
Die welfare money.
Yeah.
Like welfare money, 300 and some billion.
Yeah, and then 1979, the interest on that debt alone was 50 billion a year.
50 billion a year.
Right, and now in 2020, we know it's 26.7 trillion, or maybe more.
So you do a
right?
tally, you do it.
Yeah, did a comparative here. Alright? So now it's 26.7 trillion. Alright? So that just shows you the amount of debt they accumulate from 1970 to now, which is a period of what? Just about 40 years? Alright? Interest paid on that is now is 3.8 trillion.
Oh God, so they still can't, no matter what they can never pay off that.
They can never pay.
They can never pay off that. Then
They can never pay.
going to where you want to start at?
Let's see what we have.
I want it to. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so I jump to still in the same chapter with the money manipulators for greed and for power, 180, page 180. And that's today's problem for the most part. The power persuaders to use money as their club to gain control of the world system. There is nothing that they would like better than a one world system. The United States is drifting to this position. Right now, through government handouts of one kind or another, approximately 60% of the people in the United States depend on the United States for their welfare.
And that was back then. Right? So now it's closer to about 80 to 90%, right? That was back then, right?
Alright, the reason I learned thing again.
Yeah.
Now that the Federal Reserve System, now what about the Federal Reserve System? It is neither federal nor reserve. Louis T. McFadden, who for more than 10 years served as chairman of the Banking and Currency Committee, is reported to have said on the floor of the House of Representatives, "We have in this country one of the most corrupt institutions in the world has ever known. I refer to the Federal Reserve Board and the Federal Reserve Banks. Banks, he said, banks, which goes into what all these central banks.
All these central banks can.
Right?
The IMF too.
Right?
The World Bank.
And the World Bank, right? Yeah. They are not government institutions, as I said earlier on. They are not government institutions. They are private monopolies which prey upon the people of the United States, not only the United States, the whole entire world.
That's why they created the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which is the equivalent of the Federal Reserve, which controls the financial system of the whole world. Alright? And that word federal, it has no meaning except that that's budget federal. It's basically a private institution owned by these fake Jews, right? These Amalekites, these elites. Alright? And they just, it's like as the elder put it, alright? You just create a gang of people and they call themselves the federals.
Yeah.
Right?
Right? Upon the United States for the benefit of themselves and their foreign customers. Right? So, are we going to some scriptures quick?
And you jump to page 182 when you get a chance.
Yeah. Right? I'm going to go to some scriptures quick here.
Yeah.
I'm going to what did I have, boy? What that here? I'm going to Sirach 31, because possible. Sirach 31 and 1. Watching for riches consumeth flesh. Right? Watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. Watching care will not let a man slumber, as a sore disease breaketh sleep. The rich had great labor in gathering riches together, and when he rested, he is filled with his delicacies. The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. Yeah, because here it is a lot of our people, right? Not only our people, but the whole, he's low level, Edomites low level, Elamites, Moabites, or what have you, you know. they still, you go out every day, you just go out to work. Really and truly, you're just working to pay bills, you know.
That's what it is about.
You're just working to pay bills and sustain, upkeep these elites. Really and truly. Because the elites really and truly, them don't get taxed, you know. Them don't have to pay no taxes and all these things. It's we are the bottom here to pay taxes. And they just know, They say just to show you how wicked the system is. Because remember, you're not supposed to tax wages, you know. Because remember, you work for that.
Yeah.
Earnings is where you're supposed to tax. You can tax something. Remember, somebody come and they do a job for you. You're supposed to pay them what they are rightfully due to them. But here it is, you come and you come and tax. Right? You come and tax people money, and then on top of that, they still have bills to go and pay and what have you. And you still have to pay tax in the grocery, value-added tax in the grocery. These elites and them not going through that. Right?
Yeah, but so basically what they're doing is that every man and woman, as I say, paying for their debt, for the debt that they take out.
Of course.
To get income.
Of
to
course.
get their revenue.
Of course.
Right? So we basically paying for them to get richer.
Right? The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy. He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Gold had been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith. Yeah, it is a serious stumbling block because, hey, everything is coming down. Right?
God.
Everything is coming down, everything is coming to a crashing halt.
Yeah, and that's why the Lord saying in Revelation 18 and 7, okay, let's read that portion.
Yeah, good.
Right, so it's Revelation 18 and 7, how much she had glorified herself, and lived deliciously. Right, so she lived deliciously on all this wealth, alright, this ill-gotten gain. Alright, lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her.
Come.
For she said in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. That's what the elite say in their heart, right? Right, but you should have a different plan for them.
This is Sirach 19 and 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. Right? Because this is wickedness you're doing. Right? Total wickedness. Because you have a sinister plan behind everything. And which you're gradually walking the masses into. Right? So, the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. Neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. This not knowledge and no wisdom you're moving with. Because you're saying wickedness that you're trying to put, that you're putting on the people, it's coming back to what? To fall on you. Right? It's coming back to fall onto you. Our next one there, I think this is Wisdom of Solomon. Let me see some of your face. Now, Sirach 20 and 9. There is a sinner that had good success in evil things, and there is a gain that turneth to loss. So all that you had gained, you will get the James somehow.
Yeah, but ready.
Yeah, ready?
You're ready?
Yeah, when I'm done with this, right? All that you had gained is going to come to a loss. All that you had, all your sinister plans, for you to have all the wealth, for you to conjure all the wealth unto yourself, it's going to come to a loss, right? There is a gift that shall not profit thee, and there is a gift whose recompense is double, right? Which is your judgment. Is going to come unto you, double. Go ahead.
This is the book of James, chapter 5 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Go to now, ye rich men.
Yeah.
Weep and howl.
Yeah, you Rothschilds and you Rockefellers, Oppenheimers, right? The Gettys, all of you all. Go ahead.
For your miseries that shall come upon you.
Your miseries, boy. Go ahead.
Your riches are corrupted.
Your riches are what?
Corrupted.
Yeah, your fiat currency is corrupted.
And your garments are moth-eaten.
Yeah, your garments are moth-eaten. You understand? It don't literally mean your literal garments, you know. They're talking about all your plans. And what all it means and ways you do in order to have your ill-gotten gains.
All your secret societies and your wicked councils.
Yeah. All that is your garments. You know, your Illuminati and all these things. Right, go ahead.
Your gold and silver is cankered.
Your gold and silver is cankered.
Is worthless.
Yeah, worthless. Right? Because it's some part of the scripture talk about where you go where they will try to give up, they will try to render up the gold and silver and whatnot, and the nations ain't go want it. Yeah? Because that time coming, you go want to really distribute all the gold and whatnot to these nations, to these countries we have been stealing the gold from, right? And they ain't go bother to want it, they want what they want. Your blood. And to destroy America.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
And the rust of them, which is the rust from the monetary system,
yeah,
your currency system, right?
Go ahead.
The rust of them shall be a witness against you.
Yeah. And that's what's going on right now. There's a witness against you. Here it is the prophets bringing out, exposing.
And slack, yeah. So and the same thing we is going through about the nations, right? Because how are they gonna be destroyed? Right? Through the ICBM missile fire, right?
Yeah.
So what that because you destroy the whole world economies, right? The nations are gonna have you up their cross.
Yeah.
They're gonna have you in their sights, right?
Yeah,
and they're not gonna forgive you.
Yeah.
They're not gonna forgive you. That's the witness gonna stand against you.
Right?
And shall eat your flesh.
And shall what?
Eat your flesh.
Yeah, which is thermonuclear missiles.
As it were fire. Right? So it's a right here, right?
Thermonuclear missiles.
And this last part here. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days.
You have heaped what?
Treasure together for the last days.
Alright, so I'm not going to
and that treasure is going to be given unto Israelites.
Yeah, because I'm not going to draw. I'm not going to draw.
And the Lord says, he said, no good things will I withhold to them that walk uprightly.
I think it's true.
So all the treasures you're heaping up, that's going to be ours. Right? So all praises to Yahweh Hashem, you're shy for that.
Yeah, they drove 27 to go with that day. I drove 27 and 16.
And they will come to Jerusalem. They will bring gifts and treasures back to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
So you're on point.
Right? They drove 27 and 16. Right? Though he heap up silver as the dust and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it. But the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. Right? And I'm going to Job 20 and 10. They Job chapter 20 and 10. Right? Job 20 and 10. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, which is all his wicked deeds and all his wicked
iniquity.
Yeah, he have against us. Right? Yet his meat in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of earth within him. He had swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yeah. So when you feel when you feel your whole new world order start to come into fruition and whatnot, so forth, this, that, the other. Hey, the Most High have a serious plan and judgment coming for you. Right? Which is what Yahweh Shai Mashiach and the tens of millions of angels that is coming, along with the thermonuclear missiles. Right? Right? He shall suck the poison of us, and the viper's tongue shall slay, which is the missiles. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. He is not going to be living lavishly anymore. Right?
No, there's no fatness of the youth anymore. Your blessing done.
Yeah. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down according to his substance, shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Because he had oppressed and had forsaken the poor, which is us, Israel, because he had violently taken away an house which he builded not. Right? Got any more thing there?
Can. I just want to go to a quick one because check page 183. And that's the same book.
183?
Yeah, see that? 183. Have a clip here. I can read it from here too, you know, but I say I want to read from the
book itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Page 183. See, that's General Andrew Jackson.
One too far. I'll see how quick here. 192. 183. Yeah. General Andrew Jackson.
Read that portion.
Yeah.
He saw the wickedness of the system. Adena Vipers.
Adena Vipers, yeah.
Page 183.
Right, this chapter the name of this chapter is the money militia for greed. How Hamilton set up the money kingdom. Right? General Andrew Jackson recognized the evil of this money system, and in addressing bankers said, "Ye are den of vipers." I could remember this guy, boy. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. You see the wickedness that they was going to do.
He was an army general.
He was an
army general.
Yeah.
Then of vipers, I intend to root you out. In a veto message printed to the Senate on July 10, 1832, President Jackson said, in part, it is neither necessary nor proper for the government to transfer its legislative power to such a bank, and therefore unconstitutional. Because what they did by setting up that Federal Reserve, it was going against the U.S. Constitution.
That's exactly what it was doing.
Especially taking up the gold off of the U.S. dollar.
So you can see it was never no street government, it was always a shadow government in the
back. Right? And therefore unconstitutional. It is to be regretted that the rich and powerful too often bend the axe of the government to their selfish purpose.
And President Jackson was opposed to it, and I believe he was one of the only presidents who, I don't think he lasted too long, if I'm not mistaken. Alright? President Wilson also said that the U.S. government is a government by the opinion and duress of a small...
Wilson, I think but they end up still getting his time to go to turn on.
Yeah, but he said that basically that the U.S. government is a government by the opinion and the duress of a small group of dominant men. And who was that? The elites.
The elites.
Alright, that was the elites. Alright? It was Paul Warburg, right? Who played a pivotal role in getting the Federal Reserve adopted, right? As reading from this book, right?
Yeah.
Right? He had a very close allegiance to John D. Rockefeller Jr. Alright? So which is no surprise.
No surprise, it cannot be money.
No surprise. Alright?
They call it the blood family. All they do is shed blood upon the...
Yeah.
So an economist, obviously foretold the future. He said basically that as a result of this, we will have an exploding inflation, price controls, erosion of your savings, which took place during the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Alright? A collapse of private and government pension programs. And we see all these things today.
Yeah.
Alright? Vastly more government regulation and control of your life. Right?
I'm going to this last scripture here.
And the international monetary holocaust, which will sweep all paper currency down the drain, right? And the world upside down. And he predicted that. Howard I.J. Ruff predicted that years ago, right? And we now seeing the effects right here. Because why they've been kicking that can down the road.
Down the road here because they bring yourself into debt, and a big part of that is the military too. Because all the wars, a matter of fact, all America wars, not even the Iraq war, all the wars they had was to borrow money. Right now the Pentagon is $30-something billion in debt. And they can't pay that off. $30-something billion in debt, and just the other day they did an audit and they noticed that couple billions have been siphoned. You understand? And they can't trace it back to who received that money from the military we're talking about.
And these elites, they hide behind their multiple share ownership in practically hundreds of institutions, right? And that's why nobody can really trace them back. You know, to say who's the owners of the baby. It's basically 147.
They call them like just call them again by they have a name for them, but shell companies.
Yeah, a lot of shell companies. There's about 147 basically these corporations who run the whole world, practically most of the whole world. Right? And you know, through all the share ownership, it comes right back to these elites, these banking elites, these 13 banking families.
Yeah.
It goes right back.
They will tell me the so-called white man and the devil that the Bible speaks about. Come on, man.
These men you see like Bill Gates, right? Big Jeff Bezos, right? Zuckerberg. These guys are just the middle management, right? They still have some billion, 100 billion, right?
Them is welfare case, boy.
The elites have trillions of dollars.
Them is welfare case, but
they have trillions of dollars.
Bill Gates and them is welfare case.
So they are just the figurehead. They're like the wicked prophets and the system.
That's why I just watch men like Jay-Z and Jordan. All they spending new money by. That new money all they spending by. These people been having old money from since back then because them been fought because by through free labor by.
Correct. They're like Hananiah when Hananiah prophesied false to do that.
Yeah.
And they trust in a false prophecy.
Jay-Z and all they spending new money. Rick Ross, all here, spending new money. All they now start to make money. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and them is spending money from since way back then. Them was money changers back in the days. When they go back and do the research on the Rockefellers and them was money changers. And how them start to make a lot of their money? Through financing wars and all these things because they're always financing the both sides. They never financing one side.
They catching both ways.
When you think about it, when they're done with Jake, they just dispose Jake, take away all what they give Jake, and it all come back to them. But with Ross and them, really actually, all of the spending, it didn't really belong to them.
No.
They just live in life
a season.
Correct.
And then when they fed up, they waste them.
Correct.
Season.
When they're no longer popular.
Yeah. So that.
It's just one thing I wanted to go through,
yeah, go ahead.
and that's the executive order, because we know that according to that book, the elites, right? These are the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergers, the Trilateralists, who basically at the top is the banking families, right? Elites, right? They basically tried one crisis situations. So they all this COVID-19, right? This is basically what to crash the US dollar, to get something to blame it on for the crash of the US dollar.
Yeah.
Right? And basically to get the President of the United States executive power, full executive power through the executive order. Right? So according to the book about Satan's Angel Exposed, page 219, you can take a read of it. Alright? Executive order 11921. You know,
and the executive order, executive order passed since the 60s.
Since June 15th, actually, 1976.
1976.
Right, so if you go to the book, you can check it out. Alright, since 1976.
All them executive orders is over 40, 50 years old. So that I show you, they've been planning the stuff from since way back then, brother man. They know what they're doing.
Which brings forth the one of their biggest ploys. You know, one of the biggest things they undertake is a process of gradualism. Right? Where they gradually change things, right? They gradually change America from so-called democracy to a communist state. That's what America is right now.
Hence the reason for the same executive orders.
And I'm going to read you a couple of the points here. Right? These orders have the force of the law behind them, which will be used to establish a federal dictatorship. Right? So the orders can, one, we can freeze your bank account and disallow all transactions, right? They can basically, you know, they can control all food supply, right? So we see what's going on right now, control all food supply, okay? They control all money and credit, right? They control all transportation, which is what we see, people can't fly anywhere right now, right? Control,
so basically Jake's in trouble, right?
Control all communication. When I go 5G, so they can install that. Alright? Control all public utilities.
That is like your water supply, your electricity, you know, your cable, your this, your that, you know.
And Trump has already signed off, you know. He signed a piece of paper, you know, that there's a national emergency. So he already signed off on this.
And
he has executive power right now. He has full executive powers. Right? So he can do all these things. So Jake Jake screwed the 2/3. And Jake screwed.
Jacob, Trump was the he was the devil, the Lord raising the stand.
Yeah, raising the stand.
Fulfill all that.
This is 2 Thessalonians 2:3, the last scripture.
Yeah.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except they are coming falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, right? The son of perdition. Right, and we see that son of perdition, we see that man being revealed, that man of sin, which is Edom, the so-called white man.